Welcome to Ruby Thursday. I'm Melissa Wanish. This is RubySnack number 36, Meet Rails 5, Part 2, More Generators plus Command Line Changes. In this episode, you'll learn about the scaffold generator changes, the mailer generator changes, and other command line changes. If you want to code along, you just need a Rails 5 app generated. You can check out this episode, RubySnack number 35, for a tour of how the Rails 5 generator is different than the Rails 4 generator. First up, let's generate a scaffold and see how it's different. I'm going to scaffold a very simple resource message with an attribute of body that is text. Here we are in our command line, and I'm in the applications directory, and I'm generating that scaffold for messages. I'm putting in body, text, and that's generating. If we take a quick look, it's generating what we're used to, a migration to create the model itself, the routes, the controller and all of those views, and then the assets and, of course, the tests. Now, a few small things have changed. Now your form is going to use local variables. That's more the convention these days, so they've gone ahead and put it in the generator, that the edit and new views are now going to feed the variable into the render call, but the form itself will have the local variable. And I've linked here the pull request if you want to read more about that. Let's take a look in our application. So you see this is the new view, and it's feeding in message at message, which we have defined in the controller as a new message. And you see there it's a local variable. I've magically transported us to a Rails 4 app where you see that it is not feeding in that variable, and the form has the instance variable instead. So that has changed now from Rails 4. Next, the migration is a little bit different. It now adds the API version to the superclass. So when you take a look at your migration, it's going to have a little something extra with it. And here's that pull request if you want to take a look. Opening up that brand new migration, you see right beside there it says 5.0. That helps keep track of when you created this migration and makes it easier to upgrade. Let's go ahead and run that migration, which is brand new. You probably have already heard about it, but now we're going to be using Rails as the one command to rule them all. And so it'll be Rails dbmigrate and Rails routes. Rake dbmigrate will of course still work if your fingers just won't catch on, but you can now use Rails dbmigrate. Let's see it in action. I'm going to type in Rails dbmigrate. My fingers feel very weird doing that. And it runs our migration. And let's check out our routes, Rails routes. And you can see just the resource that we've created. Finally, we are going to generate a mailer, which I'm very happy they've changed this because it was always confusing to me that before you had to add the name mailer to what you were creating. Now you can simply name it and it'll add that mailer for you. So now you simply write Rails G mailer notifier, and then you can add a method if you want in the generator. I'm going to add send new message email. So note that you do not have to type mailer anymore. Which makes sense because you didn't have to write Rails G model message model, so I like it a lot better. Let's give it a whirl. Rails G mailer notifier, and then the method that I'm going to create, send new message email. And you'll see that it creates those views and mailer file for you. And let's go check those out. And you'll see there it's called a notifier mailer, which is great. These are just a few of the things that I found really interesting and really helpful. Of course, there's lots more in Rails 5 release, just a lot of little things in this release, in addition to the big thing of Action Cable. So again, I recommend you read the release notes for other useful tidbits. That's it for this episode, just sharing a couple of things that I thought were fun and exciting in these different generators and for the command line. Next up, we will be upgrading a Rails 4 app to Rails 5. If you don't want to miss it, be sure to head on over to rubythursday.com to sign up to my mailing list, or hit this big red button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks again for watching, and see you soon.